Good morning. This is your breakfast news at 8:30, live from AYOGEN online television. Bringing your breakfast news to you this morning is Makonjola Oluwatosin Esther. Here are the major headlines. On our local news this morning, ASU to embark on fresh indefinite strike, says UNIJOS chapter. Insecurity, Umayu orders immediate arrest of killers of soldiers in Ebonyi. On our political news this morning, Kano Shokoto unrepresented as APC inaugurates 34 members of the state chairman. On our business news this morning, Market Square replaces ShopRite at Lagos Mall. On our sport news this morning, Dangote pledges more investment in sport. On our health news, COVID-19 South African firm produces Africa's first mRNA vaccine. On our foreign news, Italy's 80-year-old president sworn in for a second term. On our entertainment news this morning, actress Nkechi Blessing gives sister new car. So full details coming up next. ASU to embark on fresh indefinite strike, says UNIJOS chapter. The Academic Staff Union of Universities says it would soon embark on an indefinite strike to press home its demands. Chairman of the University of Jos chapter of the union, Dr. Lazarus Magoro, disclosed this in a statement on Thursday in Jos. The news agency of Nigeria recalls that the union suspended a 9-month-old industrial action in December 2021. NAN reports that ASU embarked on an earlier strike over the failure of the federal government to address all the issues raised in the 2009 agreement it entered with the union. Maigoro, who described the federal government as an unfaithful spouse, said the union would not relent until the standard of education is uplifted in the country. The government's pattern of response to issues is that of a serial promise breaker. Like an unfaithful spouse, they are unable to match their words with action, which is filling the education sector negatively. We are tired of their defeat and it is time for us to take action, and so we want to inform Nigerians that we are tired of fruitless meetings with the Minister of Labour, Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, the Chief of Staff to the President, amongst others. If they ever want us to listen to them, they should first of all act on all the promises they have already made, he said. The chairman wondered why government had continued to defend the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, a system he said has been trashed by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. Maigoro maintained that the demands of the union are not personal, but a conscious effort aimed at uplifting the standard of university education in the country. He added that over the years, the union had engaged government over all the issues and it promised immediate implementation. But nothing has been done till date. In the light of this, we want Nigerians to know that we are no longer interested in the promises of an unfaithful philandering spouse. In the meantime, we are resolved to proceed on an indefinite and comprehensive strike until fidelity returns to our relationship with the government and our demands are met. We are tired of going to the back and forth. The Brownian motion must stop. We are determined to end the dubious pronouncement by government claiming commitment to sound university education and fidelity to collective agreement. Truth has been destroyed by government. It is up to them to retrieve it to avert any strike. On our part, we are ready for any action and our readiness is now, he said. Maigoro said that the union appreciates the interest demonstrated by the Nigerian Inter-Religion Council with a view of resolving the current impasse, but regretted that it would not yield any positive result. He appealed to students, parents, and Nigerians to understand and support the union in its bid to salvage the education system from total collapse. Regarding the insecurity situation in the country, Umayu orders immediate arrest of killers of soldiers in Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State government David Umahi on Thursday ordered immediate investigation and possible arrest of gunmen who allegedly killed a soldier whose name is yet to be identified at the time of filing this report at the banditry between Ebonyi and Enugu State. Umahi spoke to journalists through the Commissioner of Information and State Orientation, Mr. Uchenna Orji, shortly after an Executive Council meeting. According to him, today the Executive Council was briefed on the killing of a soldier on duty by yet to identify gunmen in a boundary between Uburu community in Ebonyi and Umpu in Enugu State. The Executive Council condemned in totality the killing and urged the security operatives to intensify efforts to bring the perpetrators to justice. The Executive Council also noted the renewed hostilities in Abaomege, Ishinkwo communities over the disputed land and directed stakeholders from the area to work closely with the security agencies with a view to identify those who were responsible for the renewed attacks despite the state government's resolution on the disputed land. Kano Sokoto, unrepresented as APC, inaugurates 34 state chairman. Amid heavy security presence, the Mai Mala Buni-led Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressive Congress has inaugurated 34 state chairmen at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja on Thursday. The state chairmen who emerged from the state congresses conducted last October were sworn in by Governor Mai Mala Buni, who was represented by the APC National Secretary Dr. John Akunodo-Edwe. The inauguration was held despite parallel congresses in some states, such as Oyo, Kwara, Delta, Osun, Enugu, Niger, Akwa Ibom, Kano, amongst others, which were yet to amicably resolve their internal crisis before Thursday. However, Kano and Sokoto states were absent from the list. The inaugurated state chairmen are Dr. Kingsley Abia, Ibrahim Bilal Adamawa, Augustine Ekane, Akwa Ibom Basil Ejike, Anambra Babayo Misao, Bauchi Dr. Denise Otiotiu, Bayelsa Augustine Agada, Benue Ali Dalori, Borno, and Alfonso Eba Cross River. Others include Omeni Sabutie, Delta Stanley Emega, Ebonyi, Colonel David Imuse retired, Edo, Omotosho Ayodele Ekiti, Oguchuku Agbala, Enugu, Nite Amangal Gombe, Dr. McDonald Ebere Imo, Aminu Gumel Jigawa, Ekade, Emmanuel Jekada retired, Kaduna, Mohammed Sane Katsina, Abubakar Kana Kebi, and Abdullahi Belu Kogi, Sunday Fagbemi Kwara, Cornelius Ojelabi Lagos, John Maman Nasarawa, Aliru Jinkan Toru Niger, Yemi Sanusi Ogun, Adetimeyin Ondo, Adegboyega Famodun Osun, Isaac Omodeu Oyo, Rufus Bature Plateau, Emeka Baki Rivers, Ibrahim El Sudi Taraba, Mohammed Gadaka Yobe, Tuko Dan Fulani Zamfara, and Abdul Malik Usman FCT were also inaugurated. On our business news this morning, Market Square replaces ShopRite at Lagos Mall. Purple Maryland has said Market Square, a grocery retailer, will open its outlets at the mall following the exit of ShopRite. According to a statement by Purple Group owners of Purple Maryland, the opening will allow customers access to a variety of bakery, groceries, household, office, and personal care products. It said Market Square, a member of the Sundry Group, shall assume grocery anchor position and commence trading at Purple Maryland with immediate effect. Purple Maryland's decision is to adopt strategies and synergies earmarked on the need for continuous growth and performance of its current and future group assets. Our partnership with Market Square showcases a depth of synergy across Purple Maryland and Purple Lekki, both great landmark mixed use assets. We will continue our approach of developing strong homegrown domestic alliances. On our sport news this morning, Dangote pledges more investment in sports. The chairman and chief executive officer of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, on Thursday in Abuja, pledged to invest more in sport. The business magnate made the pledge during a visit to the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja to ascertain the quality of renovation done at the facility's main bowl. Abuja to ascertain, he said such an investment will be a way of fast-tracking the socio-economic development of the country. Dangote had undertaken the regressing and installation of scoreboards at the stadium. This was under the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development Adopt a Pitch initiative. An excited Dangote said he was impressed with the level of work at the stadium and assured of more support for sport development in the country. He said the Dangote Group would work more closely with the federal government to ensure a holistic development of sport in the country in line with international best practices. We will continue to support sport under your leadership, Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dari. And you should be rest assured that we will continue to do our best as part of our corporate social responsibility as a company, Dangote said. He said the Dangote Group, which had signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for the maintenance of the stadium for 2 years, would continue to ensure better sport facilities. Earlier, Dari had thanked Dangote for accepting to renovate the stadium, pointing out that he was the first to embrace the ministry's Adopt a Pitch initiative. I want to thank you for investing in the development of our sport, and the fruit of that partnership has blossomed into what we see here today. I would like to inform you that we have just received CAF's certification of the stadium for international matches, which means that the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers will be played there. This wouldn't have been possible without your support, he said. NAN reported that the rehabilitated stadium main bowl is complete with new grass, nursery beds, 2 digital scoreboards, and 24 sprinklers, amongst other things. Regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, South African firm produces Africa's first mRNA vaccine. A South African biotech firm, AYOGEN, said on Thursday that it has produced the first mRNA COVID vaccine made on the continent and that it will be ready for clinical trials in November. Cape Town-based AYOGEN Biologics and Vaccines is leading the pilot project backed by the World Health Organization and the COVAX initiative to tweak Moderna's shots. At laboratory scale, we have a vaccine that we now need to test, AYOGEN's Managing Director Petro Tabalanche told AFP, adding that the first shot was ready during the second week of January. Tests on animals will start next month, but the human studies will only start around November 2022, she said after meeting the group of officials sponsoring the project. AYOGEN researchers sequenced the publicly available genetic code that Moderna used to make the vaccine, made the DNA, the RNA, and produced their own shot. So we have completed the process from the design to a final formulation, but it's small scale, but it's a good start. It's a fabulous start, said the laboratory chief. She spoke after the UN-backed Global Medicines Patent Pool gave the firm a $45 million grant. Their mRNA vaccine can be kept at warmer temperatures, making them easier to store in low and middle income settings. The original jab requires expensive 25 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius refrigeration. Charles Gore, MPP's executive director, said in a statement that his organization was delighted to support AYOGEN and its African partners to greatly expand local manufacturing capacity and reduce today's gross inequity. The grant will cover the technology transfer hub's work for 5 years through 2026. The French government funds the MPP's activities linked to the hub. We will keep supporting this project. It's a very important one for the world and for Africa. The French ambassador to South Africa, Aurélien Lechevalier, said after touring the lab. The MPP is an international organization that supports the development of medicines for low and middle-income countries. Set up in July, the tech transfer hub will train other countries and hand out production licenses to poor nations left out in the race for the life-saving shot. Its aim is to allow for greater and more diversified vaccine manufacturing capability, strengthen African regional health security, and respond more equitably to the current and future pandemics, said in a statement. Africa is the least vaccinated continent in the world. More than a year after the world's first COVID shot was administered and 2 years into the pandemic itself, just 11.3% of Africans have been fully immunized. On our foreign news this morning, Italy's 80-year-old president sworn in for a second term. President Sergio Mattarella received an outstanding 55 rounds of applause from an otherwise divided Italian parliament Thursday during a wide-ranging speech that underlined the need for national unity after he was sworn in into a second term in office. In Rome, Italian President Sergio Mattarella received an outstanding 55 rounds of applause after Italy's fractious parties failed to agree on the successor, citing a sense of responsibility given the ongoing pandemic and effort to relaunch the economy. Mattarella's decision to remain in office as head of state is expected to allow the current government, headed by Premier Mario Draghi, to finish its mandate, which expires next year. The role is largely ceremonial but can also require institutional knowledge and depth negotiations to navigate political crises. The parliament and regional representatives made their decision, Mattarella said. For me, it is a new, unexpected call to responsibility that I cannot and don't expect to escape. He said that the expectation of ordinary citizens, especially those whose suffering requires an institutional response, would have been jeopardized by a prolonged state of political uncertainty and tensions, which could have put at risk Italy's economic recovery. Mattarella is the second president to accept a second term following Giorgio Napolitano, who agreed to stay on after a similar political stalemate leaving office in 2015 when he was nearly 90. Napolitano, however, lashed out at lawmakers during his remarks following his swearing in contrast to Mattarella's speech that put an emphasis on the need for unity. After Thursday's swearing in, the Freeze Tricolor team of acrobatic pilots steamed red, green and white smoke over Italy's tomb of the unknown soldier as Mattarella and Draghi were driven in by the convertible sedan en route to the presidential palace, followed by Italy's presidential guard on horseback. On entertainment news this morning, actress Nkechi Blessing gives sister a new car. Nollywood actress Nkechi Blessing Sunday on Wednesday gifted her sister Jennifer a new car. Sharing photos of her sister with the car, Nkechi noted that Jennifer took care of the family when she traveled, hence she deserved everything. True, though the actress noted that she doesn't own a car, she felt her sister deserved one because family comes first for her. At Jennifer Ijoma Sunday held the family business down while I traveled around. She deserves everything and more, Nkechi wrote. She added, enjoy your ride, sis, even though I don't have a car, it's always family first for me. 3 weeks ago, Nkechi had revealed that she sold a Range Rover in 2021 to enable her to complete a house project. The light-skinned actress had stated that she was happy about making the decision, which she described as the best one she had made in 2021. She wrote, the best decision I made in 2021 was selling my Range Rover to complete this beauty behind me. Thank God for the space boss I bought for my mom. Landlady would have been trekking by now. The actress had announced the completion of her house in December 2021. And that will be that on our breakfast news. Just stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back. Highlights of the major headlines this morning on our breakfast news. On our local news this morning, ASU to embark on fresh indefinite strike, says UNIJOS chapter. Regarding the level of insecurity in Nigeria, Umahi orders immediate arrest of killers of soldiers in Ebonyi. On our political news this morning, Kano Sokoto, unrepresented as APC, inaugurates 34 state chairmen. On our business news this morning, Market Square replaces ShopRite at Lagos Mall. On our sport news this morning, Dangote pledges more investment in sports. On our health news, COVID-19 pandemic, South African firm produces first Africa's mRNA vaccine. On our foreign news this morning, Italy's 80-year-old president sworn in for a second term. And lastly, on entertainment news this morning, actress Nkechi Blessing gives sister a new car. And that will be that on our breakfast news. Thank you for watching. Continue to subscribe on our YouTube channel on AYOGEN links, AYOGEN online television, and follow us and like our page respectively on Facebook and Instagram, giving you the latest updates on news. And I remain Makojola Oluwatosin, your host for today. Do have a very wonderful day.